Hello and welcome to Dead Letter Movie Chat, episode 25,
45.
recorded October 26th, 2015. I'm Tim,
I'm Andrew.
and we're talking about Ridley Scott's new movie, The Martian, adapted from the novel, starring Matt Damon, Jeff Daniels, Chiwetel Ejiofor,
I'm glad
Jessica
you brought it
Chastain,
up.
Michael Pena, a really star-studded cast here.
Hmm.
So this is about one of the early manned Mars missions.
At some point in the not too distant future.
Not too distant future. It's deliberately nebulous about exactly when this is taking place. Um, but disaster strikes and the crew is forced to abort, believing astronaut Mark Watney to have been killed during the evacuation. They leave without him. Turns out he's not. He's stranded on Mars. He's alive, and he has to use his wits and his scientific know-how to try and survive until he can be rescued. So,
Yeah. It's kind of, it reminded me kind of an early science, or not an early, like a science fiction film from a long time ago called Robinson Crusoe on Mars. Um,
yeah, very similar in its premise.
mhm.
Uh, yeah, there are also definitely shades of some other movies and other real life events.
Yeah,
That this is going to draw comparisons to Apollo 13, of course,
for sure. Yeah.
and deservedly so. Um, So I actually read the book almost a year ago. It's been out for a little while. I really enjoyed it, so I'd been interested to see this film adaptation for quite some time. Overall, I think they did a pretty good job with it. For being nearly 2.5 hours long, very little was really left out in terms of the actual content of the book. Yeah, the essence of it was well captured. The characters and most of the technical details really remain pretty well intact.
Mhm.
So that said, like is nearly always the case, I thought the book was better. But Andy, you had not read the book beforehand,
No.
so what did you think of the movie?
I actually think I could definitely tell that it was based off of a book because it had that pacing that most adaptations from literature seem to do lately. I don't really know. There's sort of a je ne sais quoi about it, but like the Maze Runner and the Harry Potter movies all kind of have this similar pacing that things based off a book tend to be lately. The Hunger Games does this as well.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how to describe it, but that's just I could tell that there was something not being like that there was more being going on. There was more that was supposed to be going on. But for the most part, I really enjoyed it, even though not knowing anything about it. I'm not much of a science person, despite being married to a scientist. But I don't know, it wasn't overly technical for me. It was very, it was very, what's the word? I'm it was very easy to understand. And it was able to be emotionally involved with it, which I think was very important. All the performances are really good. The script is really good. It's definitely the best thing Ridley Scott has directed since Gladiator, or that I have seen. I haven't seen the long Kingdom of Heaven cut or whatever it is.
Yeah, I
Uh,
haven't either, but I definitely agree with that. This is way better than Prometheus.
mhm.
And part of that is down to the writer. Great screenplay by Drew Goddard.
Yeah,
So yeah, I agree. I also like that it didn't get too bogged down with the technical aspects of the
yeah,
science. The book certainly goes a little deeper into that, but the way it's presented and the way it's told is very much like a scientist might explain to a a layman friend.
yeah,
Yeah, sort of the way at one point in the film, somebody describes a particular spacecraft maneuver and how that is going to work and how he illustrates it.
mhm.
That's a really great example of how they go about it in both the book and in the film. So Uh, I only have really a couple of nits to pick. Yeah, I felt like it certainly was a bit condensed, but the way they chose to do so was really really solid. Um, but I wish they had a little more sense of you know the character of Mark Watney being stranded and isolated on a big empty planet. I got a little bit more of the sense of the scope of that in the book, and one of the great things about him as a character is how he maintains his morale, and even in the face of that, I
Yeah.
wish I'd gotten a little more of the scope. We Watney was definitely on point, on the nose with the way the character was in the book, and he's a lot of fun to watch, and Matt Damon turns in a great performance is in this role. But I don't know. I felt like a few more really really like long helicopter shots of Watney against a vast Martian landscape might have helped.
Mhm.
Just
Well,
this is a really big empty place.
yeah. And I had that feeling, but like I had what Tim is talking about, but I think I understand why he feels that way, because there's like he read the book, so he's looking for that pathos that you can get in literature that's a little more that you can't do necessarily in film. But since I don't have that reference,
Right.
like it was already there for me. But I can see why that would happen. The I don't know. Like for the most part, I feel like it's a pretty good movie. I like how it's like it's a very populist, very go get 'em happy movie. Well, not happy, but you know what I mean. Like it has its Spielbergian Capra-esque feelings to it, but it doesn't have that dialogue. It doesn't have like he does. It's not his human spirit and his courage that gets him through the problem. It's his his sciencing.
It's that in conjunction with his
Mhm.
his scientific and engineering background.
Yeah, well, it's clearly there. Like his courage and his spirit is there, but it's not like
But
said
they don't
explicitly.
explicitly call it out and say
Which would be said in a Spielberg or Capra movie.
Yeah.
But mind you, I like those kind of things too, but I don't think that would have worked well in this kind of film.
This is a little bit different flavor.
Yeah, and because of that, I'd say it's definitely one of the best movies I've seen this year. I'm not entirely sure how I would make it better. It doesn't feel like it drags, but
No,
I can do kind. I can tell that it's kind of. It's. I feel like it's not 100% perfect, so I'm giving it an A minus.
Yeah,
So-
I'll agree with that. Yeah, A minus from me as well. Yeah, like I said, I do have a couple of little nits to pick, and there are one or two points, particularly one near the end where it deviates significantly from the book. And so, yeah, that was a little bit of a reach. It makes a little more exciting movie, I guess, but on the whole, this is really good. So A minus from both of us. My recommendation is if you have not read the book, go see the movie and then read the book. And do read the book, because it's a lot of fun.